Hello. Good evening, and welcome to a player profile. This is the second one we've done. We decided we would do them for every new signing that Manchester United make, and as you can see, the saga is over. The player is confirmed, agreed, done deal. He's doing media. He's living the best life. It's Bryan Mbeumo in the red of United finally, and we're going to give our resident coach on the channel, Mr. Mark Langridge. He is going to run us through what his strengths, what his weaknesses. We're going to talk about his national team, Cameroon, lots of great players that he'll be playing alongside in that, how that might affect us in the Africa Cup of Nations window, which this year is through Christmas, so we might miss a few players there. And we will talk about, if we get a chance, we're going to talk about some other rumours as well. But as you can see, we are joined by Coach himself. How you doing, mate? You good?
Yeah, I'm good. Happy this is over the line. Happy that we seem to be putting one foot in front of the other again. Obviously, the players are just jetting off to the States. So, in my eyes, pre-season's already over. That's no real proper training is going to be done now. I would love to see it will be, but I doubt it. It's just so. From what Naomi was saying to us on one of the previous shows, and she lives out there, she's been in and around the players. It's just media. So,
yeah,
we will see.
Yeah, we will see indeed. So Cameroonian nationality, born in France, 7th of August 1999. Why don't you give us a little profile on him first of all, mate?
It's where to start with him. It's more like what he brings to us. Obviously, everyone's seen him at Brentford play a very similar formation to us. They play two up top, but it's still three. It's 3-5-2 instead of 3-5-2-1, or 3-4 that we do. Proven Premier League striker. That was a big must-have, wasn't it? His energy levels are through the roof. It's always on social media about the Brentford 1K test and things. They're one of the fittest teams in the league.
Yeah.
And let's be fair, we've got to be one of the most unfit teams in the league. People just run past us waving, see you later, as they're running past us.
Yeah.
In the box. Left-footed, plays on the right, has always been a right winger. So he's already changed his position about 3 times. Right winger, becomes a right of a front three, and then now he's been playing up front on his I won't say on his own, but sometimes it looked like he was on his own but he was paired with Visa running in the front two.
Yeah.
So, tactically very versatile. So I would say from that. So the wing backs, everything like that, brilliant. Scores some goals. Like I think there was only 4 players above him. He was joint 4th. So we need that. And obviously, we spoke before when we did the profile on Cunha. This is a must-have, these two linking together. There's 35 goals between them last year. We only scored 44.
Yeah.
We're going to make a comment. That really sums it up. You've put the stats up. But the intensity and the transition speed. I as much as I hated it, I used to talk a lot about Liverpool, how they would break from a corner. Do you know what I mean? Like the corner went and they just all went like lightning. That's what he will bring with us. Cunha will bring that. So they're very similar players with just different skill sets. Good set piece taker. I would say he's a superb penalty taker, but what's the point? Because we all know that Bruno's going to have them all day long if he's on the pitch. But most importantly, like I said at the start, Premier League proven and used to the English style of football. And I think that was probably the biggest must-have if we were bringing in an attacking player, was to know how to deal with the English style of defending.
Yeah.
So I would say that high intensity, high energy, and very adapted. Like he can play multiple things. and that's I was going to give you the three things for what he's going to bring most. It's them.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we've been on that for a long time. United have been very good at buying players that don't play in the Premier League, and it's not always come off good, but sometimes it has, admittedly. But with this sort of change in transfer policy that Ineos and Jim Ratcliffe are sort of adopting, it does seem that they are buying talent, especially this transfer window. Don't get me wrong, we didn't quite do that in January, but they weren't going to do that much business in January anyway, considering he said we were going to be bust by Christmas.
Yeah.
But if you just go off the two players that we've bought, we've bought Cunha and Mbeumo, two probably standout players from last season. You look at the stats of Mbeumo straight away from last season: 38 appearances, zero sub appearances, 20 goals and 7 assists in the Premier League. Now that's good stats for.
There's only 38 games in the Premier League, so he played every game.
He's played every game.
Like the sub.
Yeah.
So, like we say about Dalot, like we say about Bruno, the most important player is an available player. He's available 38 games. We're looking at someone on the Frank Lampard kind of scenario, aren't we? Never.
Yeah. 3,415 minutes played in the Premier League last season. So that's impressive. Discipline, really, really decent, actually. 3 yellow cards, 0 reds, 25 fouls and 11 offsides in the 38 appearances. We'd like to bring up penalties. He's taken 6, scored 5. So he's scored 15 goals from open play. So we've said in the past that obviously he's not going to get the penalties off of Bruno Fernandes. So having 15 goals off of open play.
Yeah, and 7 assists with that as well. I think it's 7 on there.
Yeah, 7 assists. So you can't bemoan at those stats. It's very similar stats to what Cunha had, and it's
Cunha was 15, no penalties, and this Mbeumo. So, like I said, it's 35 goals and about 15 to 20 assists between those two. Yeah. We scored 44 goals last season in total.
Yeah.
And that's 8 for 8, I think 10 for Bruno, 8 for or 9 for Ahmad. And Rasmus got about 9, 10, 11 in the end. Overall, all competitions. And you can't score goals if you don't create chances. So these guys also follow in shots. There was a great one in playoff final. I've seen the highlight over and over again, but I actually remember watching it. And Mbeumo wins a penalty because he follows someone's ball back to the goalkeeper, nips between a defender on the diagonal between the defender and the keeper. The keeper takes him down. So those kind of players who don't give up, they're going to go for every loose ball in the box. It's what we want.
Yeah, height 5'7", so he's a short guy, left-footed, but like you say, he plays on the right, and he's had it was pretty much quite
Ahmad. And Ahmad will, I hope, will work really well together. They're either going to be like two peas in a pod. They're obviously both African as well, so they're going to probably get on quite well. They'll be in that group with Anana, Ahmad, for the African nations that we've got. But they could dovetail. Ahmad's been playing the 10. He might play the wing back, or Mbeumo can also play a wing back. So
in particular, where in the style in the formation that we're used to with Amorim, how are you playing Cunha, Mbeumo, and Fernandes? Because that's probably the three catalysts that we're going to be having every week before we start going into defensive and sort of that things. How are you fitting those three in particular players in?
You're struggling to get all three in. I've been quite vocal about this. I think Bruno's almost, through his discipline, going to put himself under a lot of pressure to start. Because I watched the game on Sunday, and no surprise, he went missing, leaving people available in midfield again. And we've seen that, haven't we, time and time again, where he vacates Casemiro, Ugarte, Mainu, and they get overrun. So I think the 10s are you don't buy players, do you, for what is it, 130 million?
135 million, yeah.
Yeah. You don't spend that and then don't expect them not to play. I think Cunha played nearly all the matches he was available for. He had that 8-game suspension, didn't he, for the FA Cup incident. Was it 8 games? I felt
Yeah,
like it.
2 or 3 games. It seemed, I think it was extended, but
Yeah.
it wasn't.
So, and he
Season.
played nearly all the games. So these guys are actually quite physically fit and keeping themselves fit.
Well,
And
it's
obviously,
rule
we've
number
got this
one, wasn't
amazing
it?
new training ground, that's gonna, they're gonna get their hair cut and become Superman and
Yeah,
not get injured. So,
yeah,
um, yeah, it's. I know how I would want it to work.
yeah.
I've spoken before about box midfield. So you have Ugarte, two tens and two midfielders, and they create like a box midfield. But Ugarte would sweep, and then you would have, if you're in controlling the ball, you've got 3 creative 10s all of a sudden. But no one knows where Bruno's going. You watch the game. I watch the game. Do you know where he is when they
Mm.
cut out? Do you know where Bruno's going to be? I know where Casemiro's going to be. Ugarte, Ahmad. I have a rough idea. But Bruno, 1 minute he's here behind the left back. Next minute he's popping up on the right. Then he's back in midfield again, having a breather. Oh no! And then he's just closed down the goalkeeper. Do you see what I mean? That's
He's
we
also
never know.
just last season. He seemed to just have a do what you want sort of role. Like
The
Ruben obviously
Superman,
said, look,
isn't he?
he just does whatever he's told, or he does whatever he wants. Sometimes to avail. Sometimes, like you say, he goes missing. But I think 9 times out of 10 he goes missing because he's knackered, because he's having to do all those miles and running, because he's having to make up for the players around him. So
And that
hopefully,
I agree with. So I don't think he will need to run forward as much as he used to, because
no,
actually 2 players that little bit 10 yards further on are fitter than him, are faster than him as well. Because Bruno might run, he ain't quick.
yeah. So we
Does
sort
a
of
lot of
you
running,
sort of
but
need to adapt Bruno in a sort of playmaker central midfielder role rather than sort of so far up in the number 10. That then leaves opportunity for being able to fit in Cunha and Mbeumo and then whoever you want to play in that front system. It looks like it's probably going to end up being Hoyland at the striker.
well, we don't know. He apparently there's an offer. He's still potentially going back to Italy. So I saw something today about him going Juventus. It's just
Mm.
like it's always Juventus or Inter, Juventus or Inter. So there's got to be something there. There's the same clubs, but yeah, Xerxes the one most likely to leave apparently.
That would be a shame. What, on a permanent or a loan?
Um, Loan. I think it was a loan. I saw it last night, and I was
Of
like,
the two, I would rather have kept
and that's to
Xerxes.
Inter, and that's to back to Italy as well. And
Mm.
I get that. I get why he would go, but again, he can't play with those two
Yeah.
unless we went two up top, and then he would work, and then Bruno would work. That would change things. So Amarim might tweak his formation. We don't know. It was a shit show in the second half on Saturday against Leeds.
Mm.
First half, I thought we looked quite decent, and not Mbeumo, Cunha was superb. But yeah, it's going to be hard. Mbeumo and Cunha are literally, I believe, going to be running past our midfielders. And I think Amarin's hinted at that in his post-match interview, saying we need more legs in midfield.
Mm.
They definitely bring us legs, and we can only be happy about that. There was a quote. I think it was Simon Jordan said about United have finally got someone that's humble enough to defend and also good enough to attack.
Yeah.
And I was like, actually, that's spot on. It is about being humble. It is about going, that's not, it's not my job, but I'm going to be there because that's what I've been told to do.
Yeah, and the players that are leaving are obviously the sort of players that aren't humble enough to do their duties in the defensive mind.
Absolutely.
And how they managed to get moves to Barcelona, I don't know, but good luck to him. That's what I say.
Hey, if someone wants you, they want you. They seem potentially might not. Or someone might go, I've always said I've got nothing against Rashford. I've got a problem with his attitude. But
Mm.
Jack moving away from Manchester United could reignite his career because he's no longer Marcus Rashford of Manchester United Youth Academy. Come through, got to be this, got to be that.
But if he fails in Spain, then
Yeah.
that's a
When
low
Anthony
point.
didn't,
When Anthony goes out there and sets it on fire, makes it to a European final,
yeah,
um, it will be interesting. I hope, obviously, from a maybe a slightly selfish way, but as a United fan, you sort of want him to do really well because then it adds a zero onto. It
I
adds
want him
money.
to do well because he's a United youngster. I still remember seeing the
Yeah.
videos of him training, as a tiny little kid. When they put them out, it's like Jesus Christ. You can still see it's Rashford. I think it was with Rene Molstern and that just doing the skill work. So good luck to him. But thank God he has gone because it has enabled us to get Mbeumo in and Cunha in. And right now I have more trust in them performing for Manchester United than I did Rashford.
Mm. Premier League website hasn't updated that Bryan Mbeumo doesn't play for Brentford anymore. I've just noticed that. But anyway.
So
So
So what else is he going to bring to us? That's one of the
well, we
other.
wanted to talk about. I think his strengths, like you say, are definitely going to be humbleness and the ability to run backwards and forwards, without a doubt. Our biggest concern maybe is trying to fit all these players in. It will be interesting. I would imagine that you probably will either see Cunha or Mbeumo, but not both start in the first game of the season.
It depends how fit they are.
And it depends on how he's going to line it up.
So Mbeumo already plays and is used to the 3-5-2. So 3-5-2 or 3-4-2-1. The defensive formation is still 5 at the back, 4 in midfield, 1 up top. So you still tend to get 1 drop in.
Yeah.
Uh, I'm pretty sure that's what Brentford did because they remember playing them. We couldn't break them down. It was like 2 banks of 5 almost sometimes.
Yeah.
So some of the information he's already going to know. He's not going to have to learn it. So when I coach, I talk to the players a lot now about the fact that they're all raised to play one style of football, and that is 4-3-3. Everyone's taught to be a 10 that's a cheating player, and it's 4-3-3, and you play out from the back, and everyone does the same thing. When the 2 players we brought in are used to playing 3 at the back, so anything that happens behind, they actually know about some of this stuff. Whereas when we say about Fernandes, Portugal's formation's 4-3-3. He's always played in 4-3-3 for Manchester United.
Yeah.
Until now, he's looked like he's struggling. And I don't want to say it like anything to do with age and just focusing on Bruno, but he is our captain, and so he's meant to lead everyone else.
Yeah.
Can't teach an old dog new tricks. 31-year-old should have been sold if he was struggling to learn the formation. You can be fit and you can be available, but can you do the job you're being asked to do? Right now, it's a toss of a coin. I think that's fair to say that it's a toss of a coin for him.
No, I think it's absolutely fair. I just hope that Ruben and Bruno have sat down and decided where Bruno's going to be playing. If he's going to end up moving him back into the central midfield role and still giving him the free roam to move forward and move back and do what he likes.
I think 100% he is, mate, because he played him there and didn't play him in the 10 on Saturday and put Toby Collier there. Now, I looked at that going, surely that's a complete reverse. Collier should be sitting. He should be in the 10. So he's fielded a team and said, no, that's where I'm going to have you playing, so you need to learn that position.
Yeah.
If
he's still going to have a free roam box-to-box role, basically run wherever you like and do whatever you like, but that's your position. You need to control it, especially in attacking phases. If you're going to have him in attacking phases moving forward with everybody else, it makes complete sense. And then it worked the same way last season where we saw him running around after defenders and attackers for the opposition. You could see that he was having to do the legwork because nobody else was. And that was just due to, like we've said, fitness and ability. He was having to make up for the lack of it in situations. And you could see that in the
players we've signed, Nathan, with Bruno. When you say about fitting them all in the team, which is always sometimes the fear of any football club, isn't it? We've got all these great players. The PSG, the Real Madrid, how are they all going to fit together?
Yeah.
And 9 times out of 10, we've seen it fail when they've tried to do the Galactico thing of the 90s.
Yeah.
Bruno struggles to play a 5-10 yard pass on the ground to a teammate. The amount of Hollywood balls where he goes behind, I think that's how he gets his breather as well. He he can't receive the ball on a half turn and play a 5 yard pass. He plays it blindly by flicking it around with his back to play. Whereas the 2 players we brought in want the ball to feet and little 1-2s and go. because they want their pace as a surprise. Draw the player in and then they're gone. So there's work to be done there. But great players, and Bruno is a great player. Step up or step out.
Yeah. So let's talk about. We were talking a little bit backstage about obviously the Africa Cup of Nations. Now it's a bit of a bugbear of a lot of managers that they have to send a lot of their African players, and annoyingly or fortunately, a lot of the African players are actually a lot of the star players in the teams. So this season we are guaranteed, I believe it's Bryan and Mbeumo for Cameroon, also Andre and Armour for Cameroon. Now there was a comment pretty much as soon as we started saying change on Nana straight off the bat. News today looks like that might be a potential that Andre and Armour won't be our goalkeeper next year, but we'll keep.
I don't necessarily think I would like to cover it if we get a chance at the end if we have time, but I don't think the goalkeeper we're being linked to is a number one.
No,
he's only 23. His stats look amazing, and I've gone through the stats, and yeah, they're in a different league. But when you put the stats against all goalkeepers, he's in the top, like right at the top. And I'm like, well, there's no way we're signing the next Allison, the next Edison, but his stats are up there with them. So
no.
That's a very misleading on goalkeepers. If you're playing in a league and the strikers are like Sunday league strikers, you're expected to save more shots, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Who else may be off to the...
Well, Ahmad. It's Bryan, Mbeumo, Ahmad.
Mazraoui, that's the other one.
Mazraoui, Unana. Kone is in the starting 11 from the youth team, who I think we will see more of this year. He is fast and dynamic, and as long as he's bulking up, he'll get more chances. He'll be following Obi from the 21s in regularly, I believe. Who else? There's someone else.
I am just getting up the official
mention. Then on top of that, how many South Americans are we getting that are going to be jetting halfway around the world every international break as well? We've now got Cunha, we've got Casemiro. They're going back together. Obviously, we would have had Anthony, but that's neither here or there. So it'll be interesting. That's out of our starting 11. How many players are jet lagged and playing too many games? Because we would expect Cameroon to go semi-finals, right? Normally,
yeah.
So they've got a couple of good players. Some at Marseille, Napoli. I can't pronounce half of the names, but I think Galatasaray. I was never expecting us to have two players from one African team.
So from what I can tell, like we say, it's Mbeumo and Ahmad.
So that's both your right-sided attacking players.
Yeah, Mazraoui and Onana. They're the
right wing back. So our right's going to be depleted. That's one of the problems.
And I will quickly share this tab instead. Does that come up? Yeah.
Yeah.
Let me bring that up.
Evening, Stu.
Big Stu is not in our comments, is he? What a legend.
He is.
Evening, Stu. How are you? Good to see you.
Quoted us from the comments.
Yeah. Great to have you. Great to see you. Yeah. So bringing up this is the Africa Cup of Nations fixtures. So straight away, you've got Mazraoui playing on the 21st of December. Away.
When do we shut down? This is when we shut down, don't we, as well, for this one, for the last week of December. It's like they're taking an industrial break because we don't play over Christmas at all.
Is that happening this year?
There's something weird happening. But we'll see, because if games get called off, what happens?
And then Cameroon don't actually play their opening game until the 24th. The final, bearing in mind there is a very good chance with the players that...
When's the semis? When's the semis? That's where I'd expect a minimum for them to get to.
Semi-finals aren't until the 14th of January.
So even if the final is on the 18th, they're back with us. Even if they jet us straight back, we're not doing this whole bullshit. Anana plays the next day because he got a private jet back. That's not going to happen under Amarin. I'm telling you that now.
No.
That's not happening. So they're back with us for February, start of February.
Yeah. So that's about a month and a half, give or take.
Because he'll probably give them a week's break because they haven't had it where the other players have. Do you see what I mean? Like,
yeah,
realistically.
But the players, yeah, it's not disappointing because it's a tournament. When you buy these players, full well that you have
We're
to.
not the only ones. We're not the only ones. Salah will be going from Liverpool with maybe some others. Chelsea have got a lot of African players. Arsenal definitely have lost one African player, that's for sure. Then, yeah, so we're not the only ones. There are a lot of decent African players in the Premier League now. So, but
we're not in the same boat. The lucky thing for us is that January is normally the start of the FA Cup campaign. So
10th.
Yeah, 10th. So we're not losing that much because then there's a sense that in player rotation, if we don't get a Premier League side, because there is every chance that because every season we seem to get a Premier League side in the first round of the FA Cup proper. So, but if we're lucky this year, somewhere different rather than the Emirates or Stamford Bridge would be good because that's normally what happens. But so in that sense, we've got players to rest that week, and we're not missing out too much. It's just Fergie's number one rule, and we've said it many times, is that buy players that play not just for their clubs but for their country. And Bryan Mbeumo is a number one starter for Cameroon. Mazraoui is a number one starter for Morocco, and there's arguments to say about Onana. We'll see what happens with him, but.
Well, he was dropped, wasn't he? He became third choice goalkeeper originally because he fell out with the manager. But that's another reason why I wouldn't trust him. He falls out with everyone. But Ahmad's probably going to be a starter for Senegal.
Yeah.
And like I say, I think Kone starts or is on the fringe for Senegal as well. I believe that he's Senegalese. I can't remember off the top of my head. Or Ivory. No, they're Ivory Coast, aren't they? Are they not Ivory Coast, both of them? I think they're Ivory Coast. It's just come back to me. One of them, at least one of them is. But yeah, you're playing games. The more games you play, great, the better form you're in, more chance of injury. And I'm not talking about pulling a hamstring. I'm also talking about a bad tackle, especially in the African nations where they're playing on concrete pitches, and some of these guys are on millions of pounds a year, and some of them are on a couple of grand a year. And when I just looked at the transfer figures, that's not even an exaggeration. Before anyone comes at me in the comments, I've got some of the wages on here, and you've got like Bryan Mbeumo earning 55 million in a year, and then you've got Witty Yunus, a defensive midfielder, plays in France, 800k a year. So it just doesn't even tally up. Even Eto's son, who plays those DM for him, is 1.5 million a year. It's nothing. It's a
fraction of what Mbeumo is going to be getting. Do we have any information on a potential contract deal? How much is Mbeumo going to be getting a week? Do we know?
It's been kept quiet at the moment. I've got to be honest. Even Fabrizio put out all the stats, and that's the one thing missing was the wages. So I don't know if it's come out this evening or what, but I haven't seen anything on it. If anyone in the chat has, if you want to pop it in, feel free. But I believe it's a sensible salary. He was only on the same money roughly as Garnacho, 50k a week or something like that, I heard.
So believe what you want, but this is Bryan Mbeumo signed 5-year contract with Manchester United to keep at the club, blah, 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 till June 2020, 2030.
Yeah, with an
option for a 1 year. His new contract will see him earn a base salary of approximately 150k per week, a significant increase from the estimated 50k at Brentford.
But well under what we pay a lot of our team. Because a lot of our team are north of 200.
Yeah. So this is obviously part of the new regime Mateus Cunha will be earning around 180. So
Yeah, he was on like even less or around the same figure. So he's gone from double figures to triple figures. I get that. I get that.
we should say congratulations to Mateus Cunha. They've just announced that they've given birth to a baby daughter.
Yeah, I
So
think
many happy returns.
the weekend. He's
Many,
got
many happy returns.
so yeah. We'll see. There's changes afoot. No pun intended.
I think there's definitely excitement around these two signings. It just and the trepidation only comes with how we're going to line up. I've been preaching it for months. I don't think we're going to get much. We'll get a sense of how they're going to line up when they play in these American the Premier League, whatever it is, summer series games. But like you said, the training side of it will go out the window because with the amount of press and the amount of shit they have to do when they're on these summer tours, it's a waste of time when it comes to training. But on the
Absolutely.
whole, I'm genuinely very excited, especially with the two, both of them,
I'm
Cunha and
not
Mbeumo.
enjoying the negativity that's coming with it though. Like
Cool.
there's excitement about those players, and then it's like Rasmus. So Rasmus isn't good enough to play up front for, and it's like, well, we all know for a fact he doesn't get any chances created for him. Whether it's his bad runs and he's lost faith in himself because as he lost faith that he'll even get the balls of why make the run, which
Mm.
then you make the run. We've all been there. Like you can be in your job and lose faith in anything, can't you? Like it doesn't matter who does what. When people don't give you the praise or the credit and they criticize you, and you're like, mate, I'm doing everything and I'm not getting anything back. You
Mm.
lose faith, and I think that's what's happened with Højlund. I've been very vocal about he needs an experienced striker with him. But at the end of the day, this kid scored 11 goals last season, which is almost three more than Rashford scored on average. Was it
We need,
16 in his first, 11 in
yeah,
his second? 11 goals in a shit season is still pretty good. When you look at the teams around us, there's Mbeumo got 15, and we're raving about him.
mm.
I mean, he only got four more from Rasmus, and he finished below us. And we know that he scored some worldies against us and some against some other teams. So they're not like tap-ins or anything like that. They're worldies. And how many times you take that shot and it doesn't go in?
Mm. And I think the lack of fixture congestion is going to be massive this year for players like Cunha and Mbeumo because that just gives more time on the training ground, more time to make professional connections with your teammates. With players like Højlund, he's young, he's still learning his trade, and he's being berated by the fan base because they don't have a clue. And you hope that the service that will be provided for him by Cunha and by Mbeumo. And at the end of the day, we've seen it from Mbeumo especially that if he can't get a ball away to a teammate, he'll try and have a go himself. And 9 times out of 10, it was coming off.
Mbeumo looks like the kind of guy that Rasmus might need around him.
Mm.
Cunha maybe not so much. He's probably got that Brazilian sort of arrogance, and I don't mind that as long as he's producing.
Yeah,
I've
agree.
got still got reservations about him having the pressure on his back. And Bryan just looks chill. He just
Yeah,
literally looks like, yeah, no, it is what it is. I'll score goals. I'm happy to be here. I'll just work hard, and
no,
probably. We'll wait for a comment about something along the lines. If it's my day, it's my day, and if not, I'll just keep working harder because that's the kind of guy he strikes me as, which is positivity, right?
mm.
We watched a brief bit about the video. It's about 14 minutes long, his interview, and
Yeah,
most of it's PR bullshit. But the fact is, there is more of a positive culture right now on that plane going to America than there was this time last year doing the same flight with
yeah,
the negative players there. When you take out, how should I put it? I want it to be when you cut out the cancer, the
mm.
goodness can come back. Now, I'm not saying anyone was, but negative breeds negativity, and it spreads like wildfire.
Yeah,
Where Luke Shaw looks like a different player, So was he getting verbal abuse? Like anyone who thinks bullying don't go on in football, you're having a laugh. They're not
mm.
all tight. There's tiny little cliques and everything in every football club. Um, And I just feel that there's something brewing
Yeah.
underneath. That you know what? Stu's still in the chat. He's predicted that we beat Arsenal in the first game. But we could explode. It could click.
Mm.
You don't just walk on the pitch and that happen. You go out there, you probably lose a couple of games and go, okay, that didn't work, but I can see what he was trying to do. And then it starts linking up. The
Yeah.
link ups come. But most importantly, the hard work needs to come. And bringing in 2 hard working transfers, I would love us to bring in maybe another 3 players and the midfielder from that we were linked to yesterday. When we looked at his stats last night on the Tactical Devils, when I was on there with them, they he I kid you not, we put his stats up against Rodri's like before his injury. He's
Yeah.
covering nigh on identical ground to him. So another hard worker. When you bring in hard workers, you find out who your players are. Like if you've got a job and someone comes in and he starts doing the extra, you've got a choice. You can either step your game up or you can bitch about him doing it, but one of them's going to get you probably promoted and one of them's going to probably get you the boot.
Yeah.
So
No,
let's see what
absolutely.
happens. But Martinez in goal, our defenders are pretty vocal. That's probably the only solid part we are. Maguire has come back to a great player, I think, personally. With that, he's got his confidence back, the armband off. He's probably laughing at Bruno, going, you can do those interviews. I don't need that pressure. I can just head the ball away every time it comes in the box. And then maybe Ugarte and Ugarte might have more confidence now. A year later, he'd probably be fit now because remember, he wasn't training pre-season last year. So did he ever get fit? Casemiro's ripped. Luke Shaw, I think, is going to be the standout player of the season. I think he stays fit. Don't get me wrong, it's not because I love him. I do realise that there's a World Cup coming.
Yeah.
So he will want to play in that, like every season. I just think there's a togetherness there. And it's like do or die. He's got rid of these players and it's like, shit, I could be next if I don't work hard.
No, absolutely agree. Absolutely. In other news, England women's team is still trailing 1-0 to Italy. It's just going into the 87th minute now, so looks like their defence of the European Championship is over. But yeah, we shall see how that ends up. Brilliant work tonight, mate. Really appreciate that. Fingers crossed that we will have another show for you before the week is out, but we will 100% be back next week with another show, and hopefully, fingers crossed, we've got a bit more meat on the bones talking about any potential new signings, bit of transfer rumours. We shall see. Have you got anything you want to add before we jump off, mate, or are you happy?
Well, we've been linked with this goalkeeper. We mentioned it earlier on. He looks great on paper. I would like to actually watch some of his games and see what he does. Because watching YouTube highlights, we all know there was a very famous story about old Harry when he was at Portsmouth, or was it Southampton? When he was at one of those two teams, signed George Weir's brother on video evidence and subbed him on and subbed him off after 5 minutes because he could barely kick a fucking ball.
Right.
Video evidence is very dodgy at times. It's easy to leave out the bad bits. But yeah, I'm hoping next week we've got another player profile to do. Whether it's Martinez, like for me, Martinez is a must do. I would love a right wing back, especially as we've just said. Our right hand side is going to be rinsed for the African nations. Mazraoui, Diallo, and Mbeumo. All right-sided players. They're all going to go at the same time, and they should all make semis.
Yeah,
So
and there's also a lot of talk about Nicholas Jackson coming in. Apparently, he's rejected AC Milan, Napoli because he wants to stay in the Premier League.
I'm pretty sure we've rejected him as well. He's been offered to us as of tonight, apparently. I saw before we went live. If that guy came to our club, I would be there with hammer and nails boarding the place up now, so I can get in. We've heard about what happened with Arsenal and the Madueke. Their fans gone mental. I would hate to think what would be said about Nicholas Jackson. Like the Sancho thing was a bad move. This would be probably up there with that. Like they want 100 million for him as well, so I can't see it happening.
No, I can't either.
Sesko's been ruled out pretty much by the tier 1 journalists, saying it's not going to happen. Gyökeres apparently not going to happen. I'm happy with our striker if we're creating chances.
Yeah, I agree.
I'd rather go for a right wing back, a goalkeeper. We're crying out for a top central midfielder, and that Richard Rios is now signed for Benfica. I would love Edison. Probably it feels like there's not a show I don't go on about him. I just think he's got a very high ceiling, and he's hit the best he can do in Italy at Atalanta.
Yeah.
We've got 2 10s. Yeah, we need a striker, but if we're not getting a tier 1, an A-lister, let's just hold off. Let's go for an A-lister in a different position. And I would say that to anyone. As soon as it's not your first choice, don't settle for... If you wanted Gyökeres, then you don't want Sesko. You don't want all these other people. You wanted him. If you can't get him, can we at least try and get a different position first choice?
Yeah, we shall see.
Panic buys, yeah. Like Casemiro, Jesus, legend, but it was a panic buy.
Yeah.
And we've seen what that's led to. Let's not do that. Let's go in there and get that player now. Be it a youngster. If it's got to be a youngster, it can't be a striker as a youngster. I think we can all agree with that. But we also can't be paying 50 million for a young player, because if they're not starting, we don't have that kind of money to buy a sub. You buy your starting 11, 100 million a piece, 70 to 100 million, and then you start buying subs, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Then you start buying backups, etc.
Yeah, so I don't know. When's the first game? Is it Saturday? Saturday night, midnight, I think it is. I think it's midnight, 2 a.m. and then 10 p.m. Our time.
Sunday midnight their time.
Sunday midnight?
Sorry, Monday. No, motherfucker.
Is
Saturday
it
night.
midnight? Saturday
midnight. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and what's that? Is that West Ham?
That's West Ham at MetLife.
Yeah, it's West Ham, Bournemouth, Everton, isn't it? In that order.
Yeah. Funny enough, MetLife is also hosting SummerSlam for WWE the week after.
Well, you've seen the stadium.
Yeah, stunning.
Make the stadium. And Naomi's going to be at the Everton game, so we'll be able to get some reports about what she actually sees firsthand.
Yeah, definitely
from the players, and I'd be interested in the warm-ups, because there was I think someone in one of the previous shows said, well, they can warm up in the changing rooms, where it's air-conned. That sort of defeats being a warm-up. I know people saw the World Club Cup where the subs were just sitting there watching it, and you're like, yeah, and then wonder why that team got knocked out and Chelsea ended up winning that competition when the better teams just didn't take it seriously. They'd rather look after their players.
Yeah. We shall see. We'll try and get a show to you around the time of that game, if either the night of or the day after. Either way, thank you everyone so much for watching. Head over to our YouTube account and like and subscribe if you've enjoyed it, and go follow us on X as well, and keep an eye out for future shows. We're always recruiting, so if you are interested in joining the channel, just head over to our DMs, slide in, and we'll add you to the WhatsApp group, and you can come in here and rant on as much as you like about United matters or anything else. Thank you very much, Mark. It's been a pleasure.
No, always a pleasure, mate. And if people want to get in the comments, and if they disagree, all the comments, all the likes, they help us out massively. With the algorithms and that on YouTube. So, if you don't agree, or you think maybe I'm wrong about the strikers, or there's someone you think we should sign that you've seen, everyone here from around the world watching, it's all going to help us, isn't it?
Brilliant. Absolutely agree. Thank you very much, everyone, and we will see you soon.
Take care.